Greetings. Welcome back to my channel, Ham Radio Test and Review. My name is Dave. My call sign is November 8 Delta Alpha Victor. My name is in my call sign. Today, I'm testing a new type of antenna for me. It is a tri-band antenna, and it is the Abbree tactical antenna. Being that it's a tri-band antenna, it's supposed to be good on the 2-meter band, 1.25 meter band, and on the 70 centimeter band. And I have to tell you, this is the longest antenna I have ever tested. Look at this thing. I can use this like a sword. It's 42.5 inches long, people. And it is heavy. For an antenna, it is heavy. So be very careful if you ever decide that you're going to buy one of these, that you take very good care to have a rubber grommet or gasket of some sort underneath the antenna when you screw it onto your Baofeng or whatever it is that you're using, and just to make sure that it's got a good base and it doesn't work your antenna connection loose from the circuit board, because that does happen and it doesn't take much to do it. The antenna comes in a nice package, green, just like most of them. It's actually not too bad. It's not super high quality, but it's an Abbree. You don't expect too much from this company because they sell these things pretty cheap. It does come with the rubber gasket or the rubber grommet, whatever you want to call it, and it comes with instructions on how to use it. So this does state that it is a tri-band antenna, and it comes with an SMA female connector, and that it is 42.5 inches long. It is a rubberized measuring tape type antenna with a plastic, almost rubberized type tip. And you can fold it up in 3 sections, like this. And it also has a Velcro thing, which I can't get to. Anyway, it has a Velcro thing to keep it tight like this. I don't suggest you try transmitting it with it like this, but you probably could receive with it like this. Also, I should caution you, as you let this thing loose and unfold it, it can hit you in the face. Hasn't done that to me, but I gave this to somebody to let them look at it, and that's the first thing that happened. So, as you know, I've always tried to keep safety as a big thing. The manufacturer does not specify what the SWR should or should not be for this antenna. They do specify that it is 50 ohms. They also do not specify what wave the antenna is, whether it's a quarter wave or a half wave or 5/8 wave on any of the frequencies that it's specified to work with. So it probably may or may not be resonant on any of those. So just be aware of this when you decide to, if you decide to buy one of these. Anyway, let's get to testing. Before we get to testing, I do want to state that I bought this antenna back in December of 2024. And since then, I've gone back out to take a look at the advertisement on Amazon. That's where I bought it from. And I have to tell you that they no longer sell this antenna. It seems to me, or it looks like to me, that they sell the exact same antenna, but now specify it only as a dual band antenna. So we're going to test it today. We're going to see what the SWR is. We're going to analyze it, and then we're going to actually take it out in the real world and try to use it. So we'll see how all that works, and we'll determine at the very end whether it really is a good tri-band antenna, and maybe there's a reason why they specify it now as a dual band antenna. Anyway, we're going to get right back to testing. As usual, I'm using my Baofeng UV17 Pro GPS as the radio to test with. It puts out somewhere between 4 and 6 watts, depending upon the frequency and the SWR of the antenna. So let's try it right now on the 2-meter calling frequency. And we have an SWR of 1.00 and a power output of 6.11 watts. Okay, now we're testing the antenna on the 70 centimeter national calling frequency. And we have a SWR of 1.57 and a power output of 3.42 watts. Next up, we are testing the antenna on the 1.25 meter national calling frequency. We have an SWR of 1.75 with a power output of 5.26. And if you follow any of my videos, you know I always test all of these antennas on the GMRS frequency, channel 16, but just note that the antenna has never been specified as being good on that particular band. So let's see what's going to happen right now. And we have an SWR of 2.10 and an output of 2.73 watts. First up, we have our nano VNA connected to the antenna, and we have it calibrated for the 2 meter band, 144 to 148 megahertz. And as you see, we have a flat but slightly inclined curve here. So let's stop it. And we can then determine that we have, at the low end of the band, we have an SWR of 1.048. And then at the center of the band, we have an SWR of 1.244. And at the high end, 1.461. Next up, we are going to analyze this on the 70 centimeter band. And we have an interesting curve here. At the high end of the band, we are at 2.130. At the center of the band, we are at 1.527. And at the low end of the band, we are at 1.833. Next up, we are going to turn the analyzer on to the 1.25 meter band. And we get a very nice flat curve here. At the high end of the band, our SWR is at 1.865. At the center of the band, we are at 1.820. And at the low end of the band, we are at 1.767. And last but not least, we are going to test this antenna on the GMRS frequencies. I want to remind you that this antenna has not been specified to work on these frequencies. So let's see what we get. Nice flat curve, a little high, but nice and flat. At the low end of the band, we are at 2.433. At the center of the band, we are at 2.484. And at the high end of the band, we are at 2.595. Next set of tests are a field signal strength test. What this test does, it determines that the actual strength of the signal that is radiated from the antenna itself. And I will be comparing these results to previous tests with other antennas, and I'll let you know how it fares at the end of the video. So first up, we've got the 2 meter calling frequency. Up next, we have the 70 centimeter national calling frequency. And now the 1.25 meter national calling frequency. And last but not least, channel 16 of the GMRS frequency band. I will analyze these results at the end of the video, and I'll compare them to other antennas that I've tested, and I'll let you know the results. Well, I have to apologize to you. I went out to my favorite park, Pioneer Park here in Prescott, Arizona, and it turns out the wind came up, about 25, 30 mile an hour gusts, and was blowing my equipment all around, and there was just no way I was going to be able to film out in the park today. However, I did run the tests, and I will tell you the results of those tests here in just a minute. So, basically, what it all boils down to is that I was able to hit my home simplex repeater with very, very good quieting, even though we had some wind noise. When the wind wasn't gusting, I could hear that it was very, very quiet. I was also able to hit the repeater on the 1.25 megahertz band. That's about 20-25 miles as the crow flies, line of sight to my location at the time. And it was also very quiet. So based on that, I would say that the antenna did very, very well. Probably one of the best results I've had out in the field so far. Now, getting to the SWR readings. On the 2 meter, the 1.25 meter, and the 70 centimeter bands, we had less than 2-to-1 SWR. As a matter of fact, we had an excellent SWR on 2 meter, which was 1-to-1. We had 1.57-to-1 on the 70 centimeter and 1.75 on the, I'm sorry, we have 1.75 on the 1.25 meter. And then on the GMRS, we had 2.1. So the antenna is not specified as being good for GMRS. So we can't really expect the SWR to be good for this antenna on that band. However, it's right at the fine line between whether you want to use it or not. So that would leave that up to you if you decide you want to use that or not. The Nano VNA had excellent SWR readings on the 2 meter band, the 70 centimeter band, and also on the 1.25 meter band. But once again, not so good, and they were all well under 2. But on the GMRS band, we had over 2. So, obviously, your mileage may vary. Use it at your own risk on GMRS. Otherwise, this was an excellent antenna. The SWR was good on all 3 bands that it's advertised as working on. Out in the field, we did really, really well. But the big thing was the field strength meter test. This antenna gave me the best field strength meter test, the highest strength that I've had of all the antennas that I've tested so far on all 3, well, actually all 4 bands. So something you might want to keep into consideration. My final thought is that this is a big antenna. It's wieldy and it's heavy. It's not good for your HT for it to be on your antenna port. The antenna port can easily be broken off of your PC board, and you really don't want that. This is the type antenna that you don't want to be mobile with, and you certainly don't want to be out in a high wind like I was today. So I would suggest that this is a specialty use antenna. Use it at your own risk, but use it in a proper manner so you don't hurt your radio. Anyway, I highly recommend this antenna. It does very, very well in all the performance aspects. So this is Dave Prescott, N8DAV, and I'm saying 73s. So long.